Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Davide Tardozzi, Ducati team manager who has steered world champions in WorldSBK and MotoGP, reflected on the extraordinary talents he's seen across decades of racing and weighed in on the perennial debate, Casey Stoner or Marc Márquez? Speaking after Ducati's celebrations at Motegi and ahead of the Indonesian round, Tardozzi praised Márquez's physical and mental recovery and offered a nuanced view on how talent, circumstance, and professionalism combine to make champions. Carlos Sainz, the Formula One race winner and Williams driver, has made a striking comparison, calling Marc Márquez the Ayrton Senna of MotoGP. Speaking on Copsel Partidazo, Sainz praised Márquez's comeback and suggested that the full magnitude of his career will be better appreciated with time. The remark caps a season in which Márquez rebuilt himself from injury setbacks and machine struggles to dominant form on a factory Ducati. Yamaha's V4 program remains very much a moving target. Technical director Max Bartolini says the engine that ran at Misano was the result of a good number of prototypes, and one development will continue between every wildcard and test. Augusto Fernandez's Misano outing gave encouraging signs on braking and grip, but factory riders offered mixed verdicts and Yamaha plans iterative, track-by-track evolution through Sepang and Valencia. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Tardozzi celebrated Ducati's recent success, Bagnaya's titles and Márquez's 2025 crown, but was quick to shift focus to the future. For him, every championship ends with a new target. The present is for celebrating, the next season is already being planned. He said the job is never done. This title is over, and I'm already thinking about the next one. That forward-looking stance is typical of long-serving team bosses who treat success as an input to sustainably improving the program. On the Stoner vs. Márquez question, Tardozzi argued that raw ability alone doesn't guarantee championships. He pointed to riders whose natural gifts were obvious but whose careers didn't translate into long-term success, stressing the athlete-like demands of modern MotoGP. If certain things don't happen, talent alone won't achieve anything. Talent is a percentage, but you need more. The message is clear: championships require a mix of talent, fitness, consistency, team structure, and the right machinery. Tardozzi singled out Casey Stoner as one of the purest talents he's seen, comparing him to other prodigies and praising the raw, instinctive brilliance that defines Stoner's riding. He described Stoner as one of the best, in terms of natural ability. That recognition preserves Stoner's legacy as a rider whose innate feel and speed impressed engineers and team bosses alike. While acknowledging Stoner's natural gifts, Tardozzi highlighted Márquez's broader attributes: the mental recovery after injury, the physical conditioning, and the relentless professional attitude that let him return to world-beating form. For Tardozzi, those extra elements elevate Márquez into the conversation as a modern complete champion. He said Márquez, if he keeps his current shape and attitude, will be one of the best riders in the world for years to come. In Tardozzi's view, longevity and the ability to rebuild count as much as raw speed when judging greatness. Tardozzi warned against simple ranking. Comparing eras and riders is fraught because the sport, machines, regulations, competition changes. Talent must be viewed through context. The bike, team, era, and personal circumstances all shape outcomes. He reminded listeners that talent alone isn't destiny, and cited Anthony Gobert as an example of extraordinary ability that didn't yield sustained championship success. The takeaway is modest. Greatness is multidimensional and often depends on factors beyond a rider's pure gift. Davide Tardozzi's verdict is measured rather than definitive. He applauds Casey Stoner's rare natural talent, while recognizing Marc Márquez's completeness, the physical durability, mental strength, and professional consistency that turn brilliance into sustained success. In Tardozzi's eyes, the debate isn't about crowning one immutable greatest. It's about appreciating different kinds of greatness and the mix of elements needed to win at the highest level. Sainz framed Marquez's modern career arc as one of recovery and reinvention. After a devastating arm injury in 2020, subsequent surgeries and difficult seasons on underperforming Honda machinery pushed Marquez to a crossroads. His move to Gresini in 2024 and the jump to factory Ducati in 2025 culminated in a season of extraordinary success, a run Sainz says deserves historic perspective. Marquez is the Ayrton Senna of MotoGP. It's just that the way we're experiencing it right now, we didn't realize it. Comebacks sharpen narratives, and when a top driver reasserts dominance after adversity, peers in other series often take notice. Comparing Marquez to Ayrton Senna evokes more than raw results. It invokes fearless racercraft, singular talent, and the aura that builds around a champion. Senna's myth in F1 rests on speed, commitment, and a sense of inevitability. Sainz's analogy suggests Marquez now occupies a similar cultural position in motorcycle racing. The Senna label is heavy with history and expectation. It's less a direct statistical analogy, and more a comment on perceived greatness and the emotional imprint a rider leaves on the sport. This season's figures underline Sainz's admiration. Marquez amassed double wins, repeated podiums, and a run of victories that re-established him at the sharp end of MotoGP. Matching long-established records and compiling a dominant points haul gave the comparison teeth, not just sentiment. When performance and narrative align, recovery, results, and consistency, external voices like Sainz's have fertile ground to draw sweeping comparisons. Marquez's resurgence is framed by adversity: a major arm break in 2020, multiple surgeries, and years on a bike that didn't suit his style. His ability to adapt, switching teams and learning the Ducati package, highlights technical versatility alongside pure talent. Sainz's Senna analogy therefore reads as praise for both resilience and adaptability. Great athletes are often judged by how they respond to setbacks. Marquez's return to the top resonates precisely because it followed such visible hardship. Sainz added a temporal caveat: the day he retires, and as years go by, everyone will remember Marc Márquez as the closest thing to what Ayrton Senna is in Formula One. The line underlines how legacy is as much about memory and storytelling as it is about statistics. Marquez's present run will accumulate into reputation, but historical ranking often crystallizes only in hindsight. The comparison fuels debate. Ranking riders across eras is subjective, but endorsements from peers in elite motorsport add weight to the conversation. Carlos Sainz's bold comparison places Marc Márquez in rarefied company and speaks to the emotional resonance of this season's comeback tale. Whether MotoGP historians ultimately place Márquez alongside Senna in motorsport lore remains to be seen, but Sainz's words capture how exceptional performance, resilience, and charisma can reshape a rider's place in history. Bartolini admitted the Misano unit was one of several designs tried in the lead-up to the wildcard. The aim is straightforward: find an engine that suits Yamaha's chassis philosophy while meeting the wider direction MotoGP is taking. We made many prototypes before arriving at this actual one. The engine is completely under development, Max Bartolini said. Continuous prototyping lets engineers trial trade-offs rapidly, but it also means on-track behavior can change significantly between appearances. Yamaha has committed to introducing evolutions at each V4 outing, wildcard and test alike, so teams and riders should expect a shifting baseline this autumn. That approach accelerates learning but complicates direct lap time comparisons. Probably every wildcard, every test, the engine will be different again. For test riders and engineers, that pace of change demands disciplined data collection and rapid iteration cycles. Test rider Augusto Fernandez and Andrea Dovizioso highlighted the V4's strengths: improved braking feel and a promising grip window. Fernandez noted race pace flashes. His fastest lap was within a second of the front, even if the overall window still looks narrow. We have some good things, but the window is very narrow to have a good feeling and a very bad one. Augusto Fernandez's statement. braking and mid-corner grip are immediate bonuses for rider confidence. Expanding the usable window is the next engineering task. Post-race testing produced divergent rider takes. Fabio Quartararo was the most cautious, saying progress in priority areas remains limited, while Alex Rins and Jack Miller were relatively more upbeat, clocking competitive gaps of 0.6, 0.9s to the current inline 4 pace in test runs. Conservative engine output and electronics teething partly explain the deficit. Honest, varied feedback is valuable. Agreement pinpoints clear fixed priorities. Disagreement shows where setup or style sensitivity still needs sorting. Yamaha hasn't publicly committed to racing the V4 next season, but insiders expect it to appear early in 2026, Burim, and evolve toward an 850 cubic centimeters layout for 2027. Paolo Pavizio and Dovizioso stress rule compliance and tire realities will shape final choices. In the short term, Sepang and Valencia wildcards plus targeted tests will be the R&D roadmap. The track will judge the quality of our job. We have to put on the table what makes the difference. Pavizio's statement. The V4 program is a multi-year project. Short-term wildcards feed next season's race package, while long-term planning aims to align engine architecture with future regulations. Yamaha's V4 is an iterative experiment in public, useful bite-size gains, braking, grip, at Misano, but a narrow usable window and mixed rider views mean there's still work to do. With evolutions planned for every test and wildcard through Sepang and Valencia, the V4's story will be written in small chapters, each appearance altering the picture Yamaha's engineers must piece together before a full-scale race commitment. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!